Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Heart of the Swarm campaign on StarCraft 2 on Rocket Rapid Commentaries. And in this episode, we have successfully finished the second Skygar Station mission, and now we are discussing what the fuck happened between Kerrigan and Narud with Stukov.
It makes sense. The endless conflict between Protoss and Zerg, the hybrid.
All part of a plan to bring Amon back.
And a nuanced narrator in order to deliver this exposition.
I like Stukov. Leveling up Kerrigan a little bit, getting 20 more life.
The meanness in her eyes. That's the Queen of Blades we remember.
Terrans with strong knowledge of essence manipulation. Implausible.
Very implausible, specifically because Narud is not a Terran.
Very implausible.
For augmentation, located feral broodlords must reacquire essence. Can be spun into Mutalisks strain.
Alright, so, the evolved Mutalisks that we have access to are the Viper and the Broodlord. We'll be starting off with the Broodlord. The Broodlord is effectively a slightly better version of the Guardian back from StarCraft 1. It's got a very heavy, long-range air-to-ground attack, and it is specifically really good at taking down these anti-air targets.
Sure.
What it is not good at, however, is surviving against heavy anti-air threats.
Will assimilate their essence and destroy the Dominion.
Which is why here we're going to be taking down these Broodlords with a swarm of Mutalisks.
Yay.
Behold the Mutalisk Spire.
Yay. It eats acid and creates monsters.
Recover essence.
I enjoy Broodlords and using Broodlords, but I have to say that I'm not very good with Broodlords. We will never use these throughout the campaign. And yes, as I have already mentioned, Pascaret, the Broodlords are effectively just StarCraft 1 Guardians, but slightly more specialized.
Pew, 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 pew.
There we go.
Flying in space and collecting the deoxyribonucleic acid.
Their essence.
We're not technically in space. We're just in the upper atmosphere. Now this is what the Broodlord mutation of Mutalisks looks like. It's got, you know, the purple egg sac on its back.
Await your command.
Morph. Begin morphtation sequence. What the hell is it like? Is it really just, like, it's just sitting there? Now,
yes,
see,
it's sitting there. It's evolving as it is airborne.
But
For some
airborne?
reason,
There's no atmosphere.
They don't land for it.
This makes no sense. What the
I
hell are they
actually end up
flapping their
skipping
wings
a little
on?
bit of the scripted events here because I don't morph all of my Mutalisks into Broodlords. I was supposed to morph all of my Broodlords morph all of my Mutalisks into Broodlords, but I can do this evolution mission with only the 4. So
I just like to draw attention to how silly it looks that these creatures are using wings to flap, even though there's no atmosphere for the wind resistance that actually causes lift when
there's
creatures flap their
atmosphere.
wings.
We are in the atmospheric pressure provided by the asteroid.
Oh, bullshit. We're too far from the planet.
Well, too
'Cause
far
it
from
takes-
that planet, but we're not too far enough from other large gravitational forces.
No, it strikes me that we're in rotation lock with the planet right now, which means that just like the moon has no atmosphere because of its mass, we don't have any atmosphere. And it just goes to show that StarCraft had always intended these creatures to be attacking on a planet environment, not this open space platform.
Thankfully, despite my complaints, the Broodlords don't actually do all that well against anti-air. They are very tanky, so they don't really need that. They don't really need to be in combat for so long. They just need to be in combat long enough to get their broodlings out. And if you do the scripted sequence correctly, this first half of the evolution mission does go faster. But, you know, we don't have to do it correctly, so we're doing it wrong.
Yeah. The lesser of the two choices, right or wrong? Wrong.
And blow up the siege tank. Broodlords, much like their guardian ancestors, are extremely slow. To carry around, though. They're effectively what the Zerg qualify as a capital ship. I think they're actually slower than battle cruisers, though.
And we'll explodify the base.
We will after we kill the siege tank, because we got to kill the siege tank first. Whew. We explodified the siege tank. Now we can kill the rest of the. Planetary fortress.
Evolution necessary. Terrans superfluous.
I managed to save that Broodlord. He was down to 1 HP.
I gotta say, I have a lot of fun doing my impersonation of Abathur. He's a really easy character to parody.
Abathur is a fun character. See, we skipped the scripted sequence.
Secured.
Scripted sequence. Stupid. Abathur exposition. Much more interesting.
Focus her. Dominion storage.
And now we're going to get into the next evolution option from Mutalisks, the Viper. I actually really like the Viper.
Jorium crystal contained within. Jorium useful for experimentation.
Now, this is the second time we've had Jorium explained to us, because it was also in the Wings of Liberty campaign, as Tosh wanted it to enhance his specters.
Completed research on primal essences. New strain created.
Viper.
Ready to assault Dominion.
Now, the Viper graphic from Mutalisks is just that they get an additional set of wings.
California mountain snake.
Viper, strategic asset. Abducts
Black
targets,
Mamba.
pulls to its location. Usable on ally or foe.
Move across the river and pull our aberrations to the other side.
Yep, this is why the Viper is a cool unit. Abduct is a relatively powerful stun move for one, and for two, it allows our heavier units that are grounded to cross chasms that they otherwise would not be able to cross. Aside from that, however, in the multiplayer, Vipers also gets a really interesting spell called Parasitic Bomb, which does area of effect damage and does area of effect over time against any units that are in radius of it. It is really damn good. The issue that the Vipers have is the same issue that the Defilers had back in StarCraft 1. They are extremely gas expensive, and they also we also get access to Blinding Cloud, which is effectively the same spell that the Corsairs had in StarCraft 1.
Rip that bunker apart.
Yeah.
So yes, whilst under the effect of Blinding Cloud, defenses no longer have the ability to fire at us. It is very nice. What the Viper realistically is an enhancement to the old Defiler strain that StarCraft 1 had. And to be perfectly honest, it doesn't need to be much more than that. It is very effective at doing the thing that it does. My big problem is that much like the Defiler, Vipers also come with Consume and aren't honestly all that good as combat units on their own. They deal decent amount of anti-air damage, but they can only fire at airborne targets. As such, these wraiths here that our Vipers are attempting and failing to take down can 1v2 Vipers relatively effectively.
Now, I'm wondering, are we on the verge of a plot twist where actually these forces we've been killing were not necessarily under Manx's command, but under Jim Raynor's command?
No, all the forces that we've been killing have been under Mengsk.
Okay, that's good.
No, I mean, Raynor's been in prison for the first half of the campaign, so.
And for the second half of the campaign, he can go screw himself.
No, in the second half of the campaign, he's moping around in the Hyperion.
He's moping.
He is moping. He's like, I don't know what to do. My girlfriend went evil again. And this time it looks like it was her choice to do so.
I used to love her. Then I had to kill her.
I used to think she was kind of a hot babe. And then the Zerg kidnapped her from me.
She was what I deserved. And then she went and turned Zerg.
Zap all the zealots. Do 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 do. Raynor is a sad boy.
Final battle is near.
Here we are introduced to our final unit that we'll be getting through the campaign, the Ultralisk.
Might have been useful.
You will note that during StarCraft 1, I didn't actually use the Ultralisk fucking ever. And this is because it was stupidly expensive. It was an absolutely amazing unit, but without the ability to naturally heal it, it's kind of, it's kind of difficult to actually maintain them, especially given how expensive they are. In StarCraft 2, on the other hand, we've got access to both Kerrigan and Queens, so Ultralisks are significantly better now.
Yay.
However, they are still a ground-only unit. They can only deal damage to grounded targets, although they have an area of effect cleave, which makes them very good at dealing damage to grounded targets. And because they're so goddamn bulky, they're very difficult for Protoss specifically to kill, which is why we have 2 of them here. Go, my giant cleavelings! Destroy the zealots!
Seriously. Because it's so bad to have the cleaver used against you, and now we're using the cleaver on them. Slice them. Welcome to my delicatessen. How thin would you like your slice today?
I would like it ultra thin, please.
Very good. Needs many slices.
All right, so
really.
we're about to have an anime reference here, Mr. Cloud, and I hope you can recognize it.
The swarm conquers all.
Oh?
Yes,
Why would Naru build this lab on top of a Xel'Naga temple?
because Narud wants to detect that it's inside.
Of the Xel'Naga.
A shadow of things to come. Laser beams.
Ah, yes. The old struggle.
Yep, the
Left
Dragon Ball Z
versus
beam
right.
struggle. Kerrigan is out of this mission for the entirety of it, whilst we attempt to deal with Narud's forces.
So now Aku Aku and Uka Uka are locked in combat. It's Crash Bandicoot versus Dr. Neocortex.
Yeah, but at least they actually, swiveled around the arena.
Now, the question is, does that laser beam cause, area of effect damage?
Thankfully, it does not, because it counts as a super aerial unit. So, yeah, we don't have to actually worry about our forces taking any significant amounts of damage. More for Hydralisk Cab.
So we have to damage Narud in order to reduce his concentration.
No, we're not attacking Narud. We're taking out the Xel'Naga temples that Narud is using to steroid his power. We also get access to Stukov. Stukov is a fucking amazing hero unit because he's got a regenerative aura on him, making all of our Zerg units significantly tankier. He's got a really good offensive spell in corrosive blast, which reduces the armor of anything that it hits, and he also has the ability to spawn infested marines, making it so that he can actually do a good portion of this mission on his own. You shouldn't do it that way, however, because, then you don't really get the advantage of Stukov's regenerative aura. And Stukov's regenerative aura is fucking amazing on these Ultralisks. It means that we don't actually have to make queens for this mission. We can just, stick Stukov around a bunch of Ultralisks and have them go to fucking town. Corrosive Blast actually works on aerial targets, as do the infested marines. So it's very easy for Stukov to maybe not solo this mission, but be an integral part of soloing this mission, as Pascardet is explaining here.
3 men are left. The hybrid approaches.
You
The
are
hybrid.
supposed to be using Corrosive Blast on the hybrid in order to reduce their armor, but to be perfectly honest, I usually have my Ultra Space Tank the hybrid instead, because I am terrible.
Heh. X gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to you.
If you have the ability to micro your Stukov at all, this mission ends up being relatively easy for him. There we go. Alright, retreat back to base, spread some creep around, and start building our actual force, because as awesome as two Ultralisks are, I'm not good enough at the game to solo this mission like that. In the next episode, we will continue on with the last mission of Skyguard Station. Be safe, everybody.